wait. You're listening to In My Humble Opinion, only on 101.3.
Like we always do at this time, Sir Charles, Miss Max, Razor, back like we never left. In the booth in the building, IMHO Talk Show. You still got another hour of show left, so go ahead and tell a friend. You don't want to miss it, because we are joined by none other than the frequent contributor, the man, the myth, the legend.
That's what I am.
Life View Marketing and Media Zone. Short shot. I mean, you know, because when you're from Harlem, you got all kinds of aliases. Ty Cooper. That's my man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks for having me, man. But I'm just I'm like
serving
I'm a humble servant in the community, as Max very well know. And but I'm like I'm a background guest today.
That's right.
We have someone very special today.
Very, very special, man.
Someone who I met at Sundance.
Oh, that's what's up, man. So
that's how we met.
Yeah, so definitely want to hear that.
I'll let you lead that.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro. Yeah, so
I was getting ready to say, did you show up? Because it sounded like you took the show over there. Was it cool?
I forgot where I was at.
No, but definitely want to hear that origin story, folks, because we are more than excited. A lot of people are looking forward to May the 20th. When we're going to have this young lady in town. We're talking about none other than Tiffany Toney. She is LA-based actress and filmmaker, and her film Bora will be screened at the Vinegar Hill Theater Saturday, May 20th. Doors open at 6, screening at 7. There'll be a filmmakers Q&A as well following. So she's going to further introduce herself and get familiarized, see how in the world she linked up with Ty Cooper, and I hear more about the story, because the trailer, we shared the trailer, Tiffany, and folks are liking it, they're sharing it. So definitely got folks excited when they hear the backdrop and sort of the storyline behind that.
That's on fire.
Yeah, it looked like it, bro.
It's fire.
I mean,
that trailer is fire.
I mean, like, you got I saw some notable faces in that trailer too. Yep. But the story of Bora follows Elon, a USC grad student who embarks on a road trip to discover herself on the Day of the Dead. But when she meets Bora, an Afro-Mexican hitchhiker, Elon's life takes an unexpected turn. So y'all can hit Eventbrite Bora movie as well for tickets, or if you go on our page, you can scan the code. But without further ado, Tiffany Toney, thank you for joining us, Tiffany.
Thank you for having me. I'm gonna let you slide though for mispronouncing my last name. I like that you made it sound French, but it's
my bad. It's Tony.
It's Tony.
Oh, word. Okay. I mean, like, that makes it easier on me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was
put a little drizzle on it.
Yeah,
Tony. You do that to everybody.
Hey, look,
he lost up everybody today.
Hey, but Tiffany, I'm from VA. Like, I'm from the South, and then when I saw that E, you know, it kind of made me nervous. I was like, you know, I want to sound country on here, so let me add some swag to it. I didn't want to say Tony, and then you'd be like, it's Tony. You know?
I got you. So I'm with you.
Oh, it's all. Giving you a you know, this has all been a very surreal experience, partly because when me and my team, you know, decided to make this film, we were all like homeless and like struggling through the pandemic. All of Hollywood had shut down, had work. I was being evicted. One of my, you know, partners was going through a divorce. The other one, like, barely getting work, and, you know, his mother was sick, and he all of a sudden had to take care of her. So we were just 3 hungry filmmakers who, you know, we didn't even know where we were going to live or how we were going to eat, but we knew we were going to make a movie, you know, because that was, if this was going to be the end of the world, we knew we wanted to be remembered and we wanted to leave a legacy behind. And this was the only way to do that for us. So we just poured everything we had into this project. And for me, I mean, people looked at me and they thought, like, you're crazy. Like, you're taking the money that you need to eat and live and making a film. Like, what do you know? But it was this spiritual calling that I just couldn't ignore. And part of that spiritual calling was what led me to meet Ty. I was at Sundance. That I'd gone to Sundance on a whim with literally no money, just on a whim. And I snuck into the event, actually, that Ty was in. I wasn't even invited to this event. I kind of just snuck in, and I saw him standing at a table, you know, with food, and my spirit was like, go talk to him. And I'm like, what am I supposed to say? I don't even know this guy. Like, what am I saying? So I think I just like made a joke about like the food and like asked if it was good. And, you know, I had no idea who he was or what he did or who I was even connecting with at the time, but we just, you know, started an organic conversation, and I was telling him a little bit of my story and how I had snuck at this event.
Man.
And
Todd, good dude. He didn't even get you kicked out.
Yes,
Nah,
indeed.
it was canon. It was a canon event. I go every year. But she what struck me about her that one, she was by herself.
I know, right?
Usually people when they come to Sundance events, you know, they come, you know, like two or more people, you know. And so that struck me. I was like, damn, I said, oh, she's by herself. I'm looking around like, where's her people? You know what I'm saying? And then the other thing that struck me is that she had a full-length mink on. So I was like, okay, is she from Harlem? I was like, all right. I said, I felt more at home then. I got rid of my short mink a long time ago because it wasn't a Charlottesville thing. So Charlottesville couldn't adapt to that. So I've been got rid of that. And the bins.
You might have got shot down hunting season around here.
And the bins at that time. But I saw her, I just saw her in herself. You know what I mean? And it really attracted me. And I was like, what's her story? And then we started talking, and she started telling me about Bora. And I was like, yo, you know what? So I'm looking around and saying, yo, I got to interview you. I had my field recorder in my hand. I was like, so we went between a so-called coat closets. It was coats on both sides of us. And we just kind of like snuck, just went into this crevices of a space. And we just got it on, interviewed her. And I was intrigued. And she didn't even tell you one thing, like you mispronounced her name, right? You mispronounced her name, but if you know boxing, you know that her uncle is the great James Toney.
Oh, word.
Boxing, you gotta do your homework, brother.
Oh, man. Man, are you right?
Okay.
That's what's up. So, but you know, man, like, so
can you fight?
Give us that.
So can you fight, Tiffany? Can you fight?
I've been in some situations. We never talk.
Yeah, so Tiffany, go ahead and give the folks you know, and even before you dig more into the film and backdrop of that, like update our listeners and viewers as to just who you are, Tiffany Toney, when it comes to your story and your journey in the filmmaking.
You know, it's funny, I gotta kind of in that mink coat he was talking about. I was born in Hawaii, so and I live in
that's right.
I was not used to this extreme cold weather that we were experiencing in Utah, so that's why I had the mink on. But okay. Just to clear. So I was, you know, I was born in Honolulu, Hawaii. I grew up in a small town, Appalachia, Texas, where people were just kind of like segregated in a weird way, and I always sort of felt like this token Black chick, you know, that never really fit into any group, but somehow fit into every group, if that makes any sense. And I felt like my a process of trying to figure out, like, who am I? What does that mean? What does it mean to be a woman of color? You know, how do I embody that but still be myself? And end of all that, what I realized was, like, when we wake up in the morning, like, our first level of awareness is not like I'm awake and I'm a Black woman, or I'm awake and I'm a Black man. It's just I'm awake and I'm alive. You know, and so for me, I started to realize at a very early age that whatever it was that I was meant to do, it was to bridge a gap, you know, and to create experiences and content that allowed people, no matter where they come from, no matter their religious background, no matter how they identify racially or nationality wise, for them to be able to be touched by whatever it is that I write or that I say or that I create or that I cultivate, you know. And so I didn't really know how that was going to come to be, but you know, growing up, I was a softball player. I played in college, I played professionally, and when I was in Europe playing softball, I had this moment where I was just like, I don't know, like if this is really who I am anymore. And so when I got back to the States, I told my parents, hey, like, I'm going to go to LA and I just want to go and visit. And I feel like that's where I'm supposed to be. And so I went there, and like within 24 hours of being in LA, I was calling my job back home in DC. I was a news writer for like NBC News. For like, I had a good job for a 20-year-old kid, you know? And I called them and I was like, I'm quitting. When I come back, this is my 2 weeks notice. I'm moving to LA. And I think when I moved to LA, I only had like maybe like $2,500, which I know might to some people be more than what they had when they moved here, but that goes so fast in a city like this. And within 6 weeks, I was homeless. Like,
at least you can laugh about it.
Right. You look back on it now, right?
Right.
But it was like, I knew if I told my parents like, hey, I'm homeless and I'm struggling, that they were going to be like, come back home. But I didn't go back home, because if I went back home, it was just going to slow the progress that led to, forward to 9 years later, me, making this film. And so, I've always been somebody that, like, I don't like when people tell me what I can't do, or they tell me you're not going to do that, or you're not capable of doing that. My father told me that, having a chip on your shoulder sometimes is healthy, because it gives you that motivation and that edge that you need to keep going. But I don't think I ever really knew what it meant to actually, like, struggle until I was an adult and I was homeless and I was being treated like, a Black person. I was like, I was flabbergasted, because where I grew up, everybody knew everybody. So I never really understood, like, the depths of racism and oppression and the social constructs that hold people of color back until I was an adult, and for me, I feel like that was monumental, because I was like, okay, if I'm going to help people through my creativity, if I'm going to empower them, how can I do that if I don't understand them or I can't relate to them? So I feel like, God allowed me to go through some very traumatic experiences in a very short amount of time, because I needed to understand who it was that I was supposed to be helping.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. And when I did do my homework, Ty, I did notice that that you were Asian Pacific. Like, is that a culture that you identify with? Do you see yourself as a Black woman? Or I'm just curious.
I'm really glad you asked that. Actually, it's interesting, because I never really knew to answer that question for a really long time. I was born in Hawaii. That's, nationality wise, I'm Hawaiian, but I grew up in a Black household. I later found out my biological father, who's been in prison most of my life, who I don't have much of a relationship with. We're kind of getting to know each other now, but he is, has Mexican roots. And so I always wondered why I liked certain things, or why I identified. Right. And then later in life, I found out, like, oh my gosh, like, these are my roots. And I started, pictures of my grandmother wearing moccasins, and, like, she was an indigenous woman who, like, worked this land. So when I think about, coming from one side of my family was slaves who built the land, and then the other end of my family is the indigenous people who it was stolen from. And so it's like, it's very complex, but I see myself as an Afro-Indigenous woman. Like, that's how I identify.
Nice.
Yeah. And I think it's my job to bridge the gap. So that's what I've been doing with my art.
There you go. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by Tiffany Toney, LA-based filmmaker of Bora. Like we said, we're going to be screening at Vinegar Hill Theater Saturday, May 20th. And so let's go ahead and dig into Bora. Maybe like to give you a little breather, though. Like, what's your like connection with Bora? Like, for you to want to bring this sister here, lovely sister, as everybody can see, and anybody seen that trailer can see a very talented sister as well. But what is it about Bora that made you want to bring her in this film here?
Well, I'll say this, man. I committed to bringing Bora before I even saw the film, before I even saw the trailer. Okay. Just based on the conversation. I'm a type of person. You know me, man. I'm just repeating, what your listeners know of me. But I'm a big supporter, and I provide platform to independent filmmakers. And when I have a woman independent filmmaker, I'm not gonna lie. I go over and beyond to support and to help out, even more than I do for the men. I'm not going to sit here and hold you, because it's such a male-dominated industry, and particularly on the set, you see more men in production than you see women. So when I meet a woman who is down to earth, intelligent, and talented, based on what they give me, even before I see it, then I take their word for it. You know what I mean? Because my goal is to support. Even if you weren't that talented or doing as many things as someone would say, the fact that you say that you are a filmmaker, I know what independent filmmaking is. I am independent filmmaking. I put all my money into it. I tour my own stuff. I promote my own. Sell tickets for my own. Rent out the movie theater. So I know what independent filmmaking is, and it's difficult. Yeah. And so if you could have support, it makes things a little bit easier. You know what I mean? And we have this community by which I believe we should lift one another up and try to find out where can you support and where can you help. So when she told me her story and told me the story about Bora, it was intriguing. Yeah. And I already was in. And we communicated after that. after we got back from Sundance, communicated. And I was like, yo, it's time. Let me screen. I'm going to screen, screen Bora over here. I put the money in. If I lose, I lose. If I make some, I make some. You know what I mean? But it's a small market. It's Vinegar Hill Theater. It's a relatively small theater. So for me, it was really just about like the additional exposure for the film.
Yeah.
And when I saw the trailer, I was blown away. Like, as soon as she sent me the trailer, I reached out to her like, yo, this is dope.
Yeah.
The color. Now, so put all that aside from what I told you as far as just supporting her. When I saw the trailer,
Right.
the things that really resonated with me, or not even resonated, but that really impressed me was the color and the intensity of it. It's very intense.
Yeah.
Deep, very intense. The color. And that's why I would love for you to ask her about the color, like what her choice selection, because I didn't even ask that yet. But
okay.
It's just very, like, she got these reds, and the music is California culture. It's dope. So so I'm happy that I committed to it, because she had such a successful West Coast premiere. She may not have let me get it. You know what I mean? Who knows? She'll be like, nah, this shit too hot. Excuse my language, y'all. Excuse my language. She may have been like, nah, this too hot. I can't. I'm not giving. Where you live at? Charlottesville? Nah, I'm not gonna give it to you. So anyway, so I'm screening it, and I'm really hoping Charlottesville will show out for us. She's coming 3,000 miles away to come to Charlottesville, Virginia, Vinegar Hill Theater, right there on Market Street. Man, we got to give it up to her.
Miss Tony, I got a question for you.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, when it comes to being an independent filmmaker, do you make the film and write the story based on what appeals to you, or what you think might sell to the people that will support you?
Selling for me was never really the goal. I mean, it is now, of course, that I'm out all this, but but in the beginning, like, for me, everything the way this concept flowed, all of it was like a spiritual download for me. It was like somebody was using my hands to write this script, and I was just a vessel for it. So for me, like, my spirit is really my guide in everything that I do. And sometimes I don't know what that end result is going to be. I'm just present for the moment and for the vision, And so when you guys, you talk about the color and the music and the pacing and all that, like, I have to really give credit to the small team of people who helped me make this film. It was literally like four people. When I tell you 4 people made this movie, that's So it's just, I'm very blessed to have very talented friends and people on my team who subscribed to the vision and really believed in me and what I wanted to put out, and were connected enough in a way to where we were able to come up with amazing posters and photos and pieces of content that you saw. My editor, James M. Black, he literally did the editing, the color. We sat together and worked through the trailer, just me, him, and another guy named China McCoy, who worked on The Matrix. These are people surrounded with just beautiful men of color who are strong and intelligent and just subscribed to what I was bringing to them. And they were like, we believe in you. We're all in. Like, and without them, this wouldn't be possible. And the music that you heard was done by a guy named Jason Betts, who is also a Black guy from Kansas City, who's kind of whatever, but like, he's a composer and he's brilliant. And, nobody even, he was just tucked away in this like hole in the wall studio. And I randomly met him one day just on a whim. Same way I met Ty. I just had no idea who he was. And it turned out he was like a Grammy award-winning composer. And I'm just like, what? Like, this is my first, and I'm getting to work with people like this. And
the universe.
Yeah. Like I said, so to answer your question, I didn't think about selling. I just thought like, okay, I hear the universe telling me, go here, do this, talk to this person. And I was just following the breadcrumbs. And then before it was a whole movement that had spiraled out of control in the best way. So
That's
I
awesome.
happen to love thrillers and scary movies. Ray's on the other hand, he might even have from them. He don't care for them too much at all. But I love them.
I'm gonna go because Ty said, look, you gotta show up. But I'm gonna be squinting and I'm gonna sit by the door so that I don't get jump off. Yeah.
So I have not seen the trailer. Do you have like zombies in your film?
No, not at all.
No, okay. I'm just curious. I've seen the Day of the Dead in the description, so I was just wondering what to expect. Okay.
I don't too much because I don't want to give it away, but Bora is a very seductive serial killer. So, and there's a lot comedy in this too. So you'll be scared, but you'll also get to laugh a lot, you know? And I
Okay.
felt like that this character was funny because I needed her to appeal to a mass audience, and she couldn't do that if she was too serious all the time. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what?
So how, thinking about I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Thinking about what was happening around the time that I guess you kind of conceived the idea of Bora. You said it was kind of during COVID, I believe, and is that right? Is that right?
it was
I'm
very different.
sorry, I lost it.
I was being evicted from my apartment at the time
Mm-hmm.
I had lost my job. Hollywood had shut down. I wasn't getting any work. I was having car problems. Like, it was just everything that could have been going wrong at this time was my
Mm-hmm.
partner, China McCoy, is going through a divorce. His wife had
Right.
everything. My James Black, my editor, his mother was sick and his cousin had just been like murdered. Like, it was just like everything that could have been going wrong for us was, and this movie
So
was
you couldn't help but to come up with a thriller, right? But I was
like,
just wondering how COVID impacted your idea of the film.
well, it impacted it in a way that I was locked in the house and I had nothing else to do but sit there and
Mm-hmm.
you know, I had nothing but time. So the script was
Mm-hmm.
6 weeks, you know? So yeah, which abnormal, but it was just like, it just flowed. It just flowed. I think,
Mm-hmm.
you know, deep down inside, I was praying for something to save me. And in a way,
Mm-hmm.
it saved us all because it gave us this outlet and this platform, you know, and
Right.
we didn't know what else to do other than create at that
Mm-hmm.
time. So
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Tiffany, I gotta tell you, I'm loving hearing like all of the Black love in your process. So it sounds like you're about like breaking, because I heard you mention earlier too about like breaking barriers and whatnot. So how important is it? Like Ty mentioned earlier as well, you know, like you being you know, Black female and the industry being male dominated and whatnot. How important is that to your work? So sort of a two-part question like that. How important that diversity and being inclusive piece is, but on the other side, as you grow and like we see the great work like that you're able to do, which sounds like very minimal resources, but
yeah.
it was like, but the talent overcame that. And Ty can chime in on this as well, but because I'm always curious about movie budgets, right? It's like sometimes you see a trash movie, I'm like, they spent how much money? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so sometimes it's like the talent, right? The talent and the know-how is most important. So I'm curious, like, you know, as your success grow and you grow, like how both of you balance that, you know, with saying, well, I got to buy this and got to buy that, got to now hire this person, that person, versus these are the talented people I need to work with. So yeah, so two-part on that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, well, I'll answer the diversity part first. I mean, you know, I think a lot of people harp on diversity and inclusion and all that, and not to like knock that, but it's just, I don't have a choice but for it to be diverse and inclusive because I'm literally a manifestation of
Mm-hmm.
that. I don't really have to say that. It's just is, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really go out of my way to like present it as that because it just is that, right? And so with the brown and Black communities here in LA, like there's, I mean, if you know anything about the history of like gang violence in LA and just all the things that have happened between Black and brown communities, like always pit against each other, this for me was an opportunity for us to like come and accept the things that we have in common, you know, because I'm a byproduct of both of those cultures. And it's such a huge part of like my childhood and my experience. Like I grew up in, you know, going to lowrider cruises and quinceañeras, but then on the weekends, you know, I was at, you know, the Black barbecue down the street and my dad was saying coaching the basketball team. So it was like, for me, that was normal. But when I moved to LA, I realized like there was such a divide and misunderstandings that happen between these cultures. And I'm like, we're so similar in the way that we dance, the way that we love, the way that we, you know, embrace family. And that's,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and so for me, I was like, I want to pour my reality into this film to where there's no lines of color between us. It's just, our gangs are intermingled, our schools are intermingled, our relationships are intermingled. And for me, that was important. But it wasn't something I had to try hard to do. It was just like, I had, you know, cholo homies with low riders. I had Black friends from over here. I had Asian friends from over here. And all of those people were so talented that it just made sense for me to write this script in their voices, you know? So it was like, it wasn't even, you know, it was just like, I'm exposed to people that look like me that are talented. Why would I not, you know, create the community for them? So, yeah. And what was the
Miss
second?
Tone? Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
It was a two-part. My bad.
Yeah, the other part is just alluding back to how Todd mentioned the colors and the piece of art that it is. And I was saying, based on our conversation, you had minimal resources. So I was just curious on how you look at talent versus budget.
Yeah, for me, I realized like, okay, my friends are talented and they might not be like named actors yet, but I can put them in this film and I can surround them with people like, Noel G from Training Day and Omar Gooding and Earthquake, and people that I might, have access to that might be able to show up for just a day or an hour. I might not be able to pay these guys to be in the film for like a whole week or like more than one scene, but I can have them do a cameo or drop in, and I can surround my talented team with people like this, and that was really my goal. And I've been consulting other independent filmmakers on how to like maximize your resources and your relationships so that you can make things look expensive with a small budget. And for me, that's like, that's a gift. And I learned that from my mentor, China McCoy, who was my assistant director on this movie. He knows how to take a little and just make it look like $1 million. And that was what we did.
Miss Tony, I've had the privilege to watch Ty take his films and go across the state and take him to Sundance and watch to see what he's getting out of the films when people see them, right? For you and your team, what is it that you hope to accomplish, let's say, a year from now?
Yeah, I hope that this is a tool for my team and I to continue to leverage this film to get more opportunities. Hope that it inspires people, which I feel it already has. I hope that James Black goes to be this amazing cinematographer to make his own films and be an award-winning director. I hope that China, does the same. And I hope that my co-star in this, that she goes on to like win Oscars. I hope that I do the same. I want this film to win awards, but I also want it to be a cult classic. Like 20 years from now, I want to see people wearing t-shirts like they wear those shirts with Friday on it. Like I want it has the potential to be that. So that's what I want. It's just to leave this legacy behind in a way that that is never forgotten, even long after I'm gone. So
do you see why I'm bringing her here?
Well,
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm talking about. That was the energy that I enjoyed at Sundance, just for the short period of time we were talking at Cannes when I interviewed her. But the thing about it, man, also one thing that I think she has not kind of hop on is her own skill set. She wrote it, she directed it, she produced it, and she's the leading actress in it.
Right.
And she knocked them all out the park. Like, the producing part, if people don't know what producing is, as far as film, she brought all the pieces together.
That's
so
Denzel quality, ain't it?
She hired all the people, right? She hired all the individuals. She got everyone to do what, like she said, she didn't have to pay certain people necessarily to do something, but she had to pivot. Like when they say, okay, I could come on the set from whatever 3 to 5, a producer is going to make it happen for that person from 3 to 5.
Right.
Like they're going to bring all the pieces, the cinematographer, the camera guy, whatever. And that's next level talent that people don't see. We see the fruits of the labor.
Right,
we don't see that labor, and it's not easy. And so her film, I didn't even ask her budget for the film. I let you ask her, but this film would have cost someone like me probably about $800,000 or so. For her, she has connections, and that's why it's all about the connections.
You can move to LA now? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if I can be closer to Tiffany, I may have to. And I know my lady she would love it too. She want to be out there anyway. I can't go out there. I don't have enough money.
Just leave the suburban.
Yeah, I can't change my lifestyle right now. I gotta make this bread. We just bought a house. We just built a house. So, but I'm just trying to say that like the work, man, that she put into this and that sacrifice, and I know that she's going to benefit from it. I know it's going to all come back to her 10 times fold or 100 times fold. I just hope that she's patient enough, because a lot of times what happens, actors, they move on to the next project.
Yeah.
Us producers don't, because we got to sell this. We got to screen it. We got to get eyes on it. And she's playing all of that. So she can't slow down her career as an amazing actress to necessarily do all the things she needs to do for Bora. So I hope her team grows to support her in that journey.
Yes, spot on. Anything you want to add to that, Tiffany?
Yeah, like I said, this movie was made like literally like 3 people, because when you talk about like you know, Black people doing amazing things and coming together. It was really cool because this guy named McGrady, he calls himself McGrady OG. He's like the or the Mexican Too Short. I swear to you, he's so talented artist. Play. Gotta check him out. He actually came in as an associate producer and, you know, allowed me into his home, into his community. His lowrider club called Hoopty really came through for us in so many ways and really added to the culture of this film. And I have to mention them because they just really rode for me when this was just a non-flushed out concept. They saw me, they believed in me, they allowed me into their community and their space and allowed me to bring a bunch of Black people into this Mexican community.
That was funny the way she said that.
Dude, because of LA, it was like that was a big deal for them to have that trust in me and that trust in us. And we formed a family and a unit. And without them, like, and without, you know, the small tribe of people who supported this, there is no film, you know. So I did a lot of work. I did sacrifice a lot, but they really came through for me. And without that, this budget was $200,000, which I know how I stumbled upon that money. It was all just God, I swear. Like I had some people come through, you know, at the end of this and kind of drop some bread on me. But a lot of it was like I was applying for grants. I was on unemployment. I was driving for Lyft and Uber. Then my car got repossessed. So I had to, it was just everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. But it led me wrong, you know, so I'm great.
Yeah.
Are you feeling like a
power of a dream.
trailblazer? Yeah. Yeah, it
What-
definitely is. Are you feeling like a trailblazer in this industry? I heard Ty talk about how it's really a male-dominated industry. So are there any females in this industry that you kind of look to for guidance or mentorship? And then, or do you feel like you're kind of just setting the own trail and overcoming some barriers for the people behind you, the young girls behind you?
I have men and women that I really respect and look up to. There's a woman named Tyler Maddox, who's my mentor family. She's also our distribution plug at Tribeca One. I could call her anytime, 4 a.m, and she would be there for me. I definitely was a daddy's girl growing up. So I was sort of raised sort of more of a male mentality, I guess. So I never really think about, oh, I'm a frail woman and I'm being victimized by, which in some situations has been true. I mean, of course, like, yes, there's some bad people out there, but I never really thought about it that way. I just show up and just try to do the job to the best of my ability. I hope that it other women, I really do. But at the end of the day, for me, I'm just like, can I do the job or not? You know, like that's the day, like, can I do the job or not? You know, and I've never been one to like ask for handouts or want to, you know, people to feel sorry for me or to feel like, oh, she's a woman and she's Black, let me just elevate her. No, like I still have to be great, you know? And so for me, I take pride in that. Like I take pride in my name. I take pride in what the work that I put out looks like and how it makes people feel, you know? So yeah, I am a trailblazer and I'm proud of that.
Yeah, you own it. Go ahead, own it, Tiffany. It's cool.
Right.
But like speaking of that, like how therapeutic has this been for you? All that you were going through and in the creation of this, and then now to see how it's being accepted. And also when I hear you talk about, like your heritage and things of that sort, and like you can see that written all through this script, right? Like how therapeutic is this movie for you?
Man, so much, so therapeutic. I knew it was going to be, I knew it was going to do this. I felt like I was manifesting this. I knew it. Nobody else really believed. And so for me, I feel like it is therapeutic. It's also scary because people are just savages out there and you got to keep, keep your circle small and you have to guard what you've built. My life was threatened during the making of this movie. I had a producer that I fired for harassing a couple people on the team. He was very like, oh, I'll ruin you and I'll kill you and I'll make sure this movie never sees the light of day. And I'm like, be a woman, have a man like threaten you like that. It was that. And I think that was the moment when I realized like, damn, this shit must be really good. Be really good. So it was like, that was, I think, the scariest part of this journey, but I still saw it as like a way to be like, okay, that's just one more thing to overcome. That's just one more person that's going to wish they didn't treat me that. That's just one more person that's going to watch this and think, wow, like you know, I messed up. And so, you know, I was just like, okay, like it is what it is, you know?
That's what's up.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's been a really rough ride, very bumpy ride, but it's also been like an opportunity for me to prove to myself like my own strength and my own power and my own like will to win and to survive, you know? So
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah.
And you're a very humble person, but go ahead and brag on yourself a little bit. Like the screenings you had so far, go ahead and let Charlottesville know like what they're stepping into as far as the reception, you know, like that you've gotten so far at your screen.
And before she does that, 'cause I need her to understand we're not in Hollywood, so I'm just screening the film. Like I need her to know that it's not gonna be this big extravaganza that she's accustomed to. You feel me?
I feel you.
We screen films here. The
Yeah.
extravaganza is over in Cali,
Right,
in
right.
LA. Just want to make sure.
I mean, like, but she's coming to see the great Ty Cooper, though. So
Nah,
I mean,
nah,
you
nah.
gotta live up to that.
Nah,
I'm
nah,
sorry.
nah. I'm good. I'm good. I don't need that pressure. I don't need that pressure.
We're gonna have the red carpet and the shrimp and everything.
I'm so like truly grateful for you and just for you guys having me on and just all of it, like all of it.
Oh, that's what's up, man.
Glad to have.
That's what's up.
It's very magical, and I'm you know, I'm grateful. I'm more than grateful. So you don't have to worry about any of that.
I'm scared of scary movies,
It's all love.
but since you brought out the waterworks, I'm gonna go ahead and show up now. I was gonna
It's
say my
all
stomach
love.
wasn't acting right when it was time to come, but I got to show up now.
No,
That's what's up.
magical, and I'm just so grateful to be able to share this with the world and with you and with my dad's gonna get to see it. He hasn't seen it yet, so he's flying in to see it. So
Mhm.
it's gonna be amazing. I don't care if he's the only one there; that it doesn't matter. So like this is, I'm so grateful. And you're asking me to brag on myself, but it's like I don't know if I really need to. I mean, the movie speaks for itself, you know. So
There you go.
yeah.
There you go. Thank
Yeah.
you, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been joined by Tiffany Toney, brought to you by Ty Cooper and Life View Marketing and Visuals, about the screening of Bora, Vinegar Hill Theater, Saturday, May 20th. Doors open 6 p.m., screening at 7 p.m. There'll be a filmmakers Q&A to follow. And you can get your tickets at Eventbrite and all that. Ty, you want to shout out any sponsors or let folks know more information
Look
about
at this,
tickets?
Yeah,
look at
you
this
know-
mask she's showing us.
You know, we
Oh, yeah.
now you know we have you know, I usually bring the indie short film series here every month, every other month. It's a collection of short films.
Mhm.
This is a feature film, so there's nothing else showing.
Okay.
But Bora. So we just need the support. You know, I want to show, you know, we have Tiffany coming
Let's
way
show some love.
from 3,000 miles away just to be here in Charlottesville. You know, she got some family that's coming in there. But we just need Charlottesville and the surrounding area to just really come out and support it. There's not a lot of black feature films, right? By someone who's black, you know, indigenous and so forth. I don't usually get that. So when I get it, I'm showing it because I chose Charlottesville because I believe Charlottesville deserve it. I could have easily went to Richmond with it, where there's a larger population.
Oh, yeah.
I did not with intent. I screened Amanda out there. Like I have outlets, but I just think Charlottesville. I just want to do much more culturally for Charlottesville Black community. So this is one of the reasons why I'm bringing Bora here, opposed to another market, a larger market.
We need it.
So yes, I'm just hoping that the people, our folks, can show up and show her some love. And so to connect that, I gotta, I didn't go to any other business to get a sponsorship, but I went to York Properties, my boy Charlie.
Absolutely.
Right. So, Black businessman in Charlottesville. And he gave him a little something to support it. You know what I'm saying? So he's a sponsor. And of course, Seaville Weekly is a sponsor because they always sponsor most of my events because they love to support what I try to do and sacrifice to bring here. So really, it's York Properties and Seaville Weekly, and of course my company.
Yeah. And of course, IMHO.
Yes, of course, brother. Of course. Come on now. That's like go without saying, but because I'm on your platform.
Go ahead and say it then.
I'm on your platform. I always
Screening did 200 people though, and it was a standing ovation, and people cried, and people were very moved by this film. Nobody saw the end coming. Everybody was like, it was just such a positive vibe. Like people snuck into the screening that weren't even invited, which was very flattering. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not gonna do that here, though. Everybody gonna buy tickets, so you know what I mean? Like I don't need no trouble. Look, listen, I got too much to lose. I got too much to lose. I don't want let's just be cool on May 20th. Saturday, May 20th at 7 p.m. She's gonna take the screen over. I'm gonna sit back, and it feel good to not like. I love screening my stuff, man, but it just feels good for me to be able to sit back and really truly enjoy a film that I already saw twice. But I'm going to be looking at like every audience member. I'm gonna sit in the front, and I'm gonna tilt my back, and I'm gonna be looking at people's eyes, just in their facial expression, just to see how they are, like taking each moment of each scene. I look forward to that more than anything, to be honest. But you get tickets by you go to Eventbrite. You can look up Bora movie, and or you can come there in person and buy tickets. Doors open at 6 though, but it's best to get tickets in advance if you can, so that way you get access to the theater before anyone else does. And you can go to boramovie.eventbrite.com. That's boramovie.eventbrite.com. And then you go to my website. I mean, you go to my like Facebook page and so forth too. Ty Cooper. You can find me on Facebook. But is it on yours? On your IMHO?
Yeah, we shared it. Yep.
So
Flyer link. Everything's up on the page, y'all.
Yeah. Okay.
It's also in the comment thread of this live feed as well. But yeah,
and Vinegar Hill Theater too. Vinegar Hill Theater. If you don't know where that's at, it's 220 West Main Street, West Market Street, right downtown, right next to the Browns Locks. If you don't know where that's at, it's like right in that area over there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ty, man, thank you as always for bringing more and more to the community.
Absolutely.
Hey, y'all, we gotta get out there. If Tiffany didn't sell it enough, come on, y'all, for sure. And Tiffany, a pleasure to meet you. Looking forward to also meet you in person out there. Look, I may gotta bring a Sharpie and a flyer. Get this. I'm gonna get this autograph while it's still cheap. This autograph. Hey, but Tiffany, any last words? Definitely for folks to learn more about you and your work. You want to give the people context?
I have a movie called Jungle Juice that's currently on Tubi. I also did a short called Jade Rising. All that stuff is on my social media. You can follow me on Instagram. It's Tiffany__Toney, spelled Toney. And then you can follow Bora the movie on Instagram too. And it's exactly that. It's at Bora the movie. So yeah, check me out. Hit me up on Instagram. Check out my posts. I'm posting about the movie almost every day. So I'm super excited, and I look forward to meeting all of you.
Thank you.
I don't know you, Tiffany, and I'm proud of you. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I wish you the very best.
Thank you.
That's what's up. I screened her film Jade Rising. I screened that April 15th.
Oh, that was her. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't even know? You sent it to me.
Did people enjoy it?
They loved it.
Oh,
yeah, because it was different. It was a sci-fi movie. So when you have a black sci-fi movie, you know what I'm saying? Like that's it was different. People weren't expecting it. And that's a good thing about the indie short film series, that I try to make sure when I curate it that I include different types of films. So sometimes you may not like something, but you're gonna like something else. It's just you know what I mean. I try to include something for everyone, and also it's just for the enrichment of their cultural experience.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Thank you.
Great work.
You're welcome.
Ty, Tiffany, thank you. Continue blessings and safe travels.
Thank you. Bye.
See you soon.